Good morning, everybody. How is it going? I want to quickly talk about the new blade mail. 6.87 changed blade mail, and I think it's really interesting, and I've seen a lot of people confused by it, so I might as well just go ahead and explain it really quick. So, the two changes to blade mail in 6.87, where the blade mail now returns damage before reduction, and it also returns the same type of damage. There are three types of damage in Dota. There's pure, which ignores any kind of resistance, there's magic, and there's physical. Now, where does this become interesting? So, previously, let's say you got hit for 100 damage, right? 100 physical damage, and you have 50% reduction. So, the reduction sets in, right? You take 50 damage, blade mail returns 50 pure damage to your opponent. Now it works a little different. You activate the blade mail, you get hit for 100, the opponent also takes 100 physical, right? And let's say the opponent has 25% reduction, you have 50%, you lose 50 HP, opponent loses 75 HP. This is a significant buff in most circumstances. So let me just go ahead and show you, right? So we have our little axe here with his blade mail. We also have these Linas. These Linas all have the exact same amount of HP. Now this Lina has an Aghanim's, right? She also has 10 more intelligence, which I guess slightly increases her spell damage. Who cares, right? That's really not relevant for what we're doing here. But we have our axe here, right? So let me go ahead and activate the blade mail. And then both of these Linas are going to use the Laguna blade on the axe. So let's go ahead and do this and do this. You may notice that this Lina took significantly more damage. That's because the damage type that was returned to her was pure, right? So she took more damage. Now, previously, this would still be true, right? This is kind of the same thing as beforehand. In fact, both of these Linas took the exact same amount of damage they would have taken beforehand, right? Because Axe currently only has 25% resistance, Alina only has 25% resistance, so the Laguna Blade gets through and they both get reduced by 25%. They both took the same amount of damage, they both took the same amount of damage. That's not where it becomes interesting. Where it becomes interesting is right here. So, we have our Elder Titan next to the Axe. Currently has 0% magical damage resistance, right? So, previously, now these two would take the same amount of damage because, you know, the 850 go through, but it might as well just be pure. But this is no longer true. As you can see, this Lina still took more damage. Now, this is not really that great for the Axe though, right? Now, this is where it becomes cool now. Let's say our Axe has a Pipe of Insight, right? So this Lina now deals significantly less damage to him because it's magic damage, right? So we activate our blade mail, and you can tell I took about 400 points of damage, she took about 600. This is the cool part, right? This is what makes this really, really, really good. If I have my two Linas here, again, same amount of HP, right? In fact, the exact same item set. And I have this one blocked by the blade mail with the Pipe of Insight, and then I block this one without it, right? They still take the same amount of damage, but I didn't. And that's where it becomes good for us, right? That's the important part. I didn't take the same amount of damage. They did. So, I can now have items like a Pipe of Insight, like big armor items, or I can use my Berserker's Call, which gives me 40 additional armor, without having to worry about whether or not I reduce too much damage, so I don't really return any damage with the blade mail anymore. Now, another cool thing about this is that actually, because the damage returned is magic in this case, right, so I could block it with BKB. You can see I didn't take any damage. Now, this doesn't apply to everybody though. If I do this, right, because I have that Aghanim, which is pure, she still takes damage. Now, if I do this, and then BKB, and, wrong thing, there we go. Right, I activate this, and then I BKB, and I just hit, you may be able to tell that she still takes damage, because we do have our blade mail active, right? Even though she has a BKB, which again, this wouldn't have been true beforehand. Now, in this circumstance, yet again, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter how much armor we have. So we have our little Axe right now. Once she attacks, right, currently Axe is sitting at about 7 armor. It's not going to be exactly 0% resistance, but it's going to be about 0% resistance, right? So we have about 7 armor, right? Desolator reduces by 7, right? So the Axe is just going to take basically pure damage. We activate the blade mail, we have her attack him. You can see she takes a lot of damage. Now, Axe also took a ton of damage. Now, but if we do this, right, we have the Berserker's Call, so we have her attack him, we Berserker's Call, we activate the Blade Mail. You may notice I am barely taking any damage at all. She's murdering herself. That's the cool part, right? That is the interesting part. Now, there's something else that's also really, really cool about this. You can see that this little lady here, actually, let me go ahead and... Does this work? Yes, nice. So you can see that this Lena has the double plate mail, right? While she only has 0 plate mails. I gotta admit, I accidentally killed one of my Lenas, but that's alright. So she doesn't have a plate mail, right? She has 2 of them. So her... Actually, this doesn't work. Okay, let's give her... Sorry, let's give her a... give bots... Item... Plate mail... There we go. So she got a plate mail now. She also got one. We don't want that. So she's sitting at 10 armor, right? She's sitting at 30. Which, as you might be able to guess, is significantly better than 10. If we now have our axe here, right? And we activate our blade mail. And we have her hit once. And then we do this. And we have her hit once. You may be able to tell that she took less damage. Right? So overall, this is, it is a change, right? It is a change as in, it's not always gonna be a buff, it's not always going to be a nerf, but in most circumstances, this is better for the Blade Mail carrier, right? For a hero like specifically Axe. In fact, this is a huge buff to Axe, because now we can use the Berserker's Call without much of a concern, right? And that is really, really, really good for us. So yeah, we also have like our bounty hunter here, for example, right? We run in, we get the huge hit. You see, we take a lot of damage. If we Berserker's Call beforehand though, and then he gets the big hit, we take significantly less damage, right? So that's kind of good for us. However, previously on the second attack, we would have barely returned any. On the first one, we would have returned a lot. Now, if we activate the Blade Mail, he hits us, right? He takes that much damage. We wait for this to get ready again. Just give it a second. All right. Berserker's Call. He comes in, hits us. He takes the exact same amount of damage. That's the new Blade Mail. Hope you all find that interesting. Please feel free if you're feel free to let me know if you're interested in these kind of videos. I just thought it would be cool, I guess, to quickly talk about this. But yeah, anyway, quick demonstration of the new Blade Mail, and hope to see you tomorrow. Goodbye.